3. We are actually live.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Well, here we go. It's the man that promises you nothing and delivers. It's the veritable man motor mouth. It's Roald Woods who feels the need to call himself Rob Vega. It somehow makes him feel important. Anyway, do have a listen and try not to throw up.
It's like some hip music. Every time I hear that, I'm dumbfounded that David found that.
So here we go.
Yeah.
So here we go.
You know what's interesting about that is, have we ever explained the name thing? Why it is Rob Vega, not Roald Woods? Have we ever mentioned that?
We did, because if Interpol's looking for you with a red notice, and when they find you, it's all over.
Inside voice, Steve.
Oh, sorry, I always forget. So.
That's the part you're not supposed to say. No, yeah. No, when I got into the whole radio thing, they said to me, what is this Roald Woods crap? That doesn't look, it's not very radio, especially the Roald. Or as Morton, our friend Morton on one of the other channels calls me, Roald. Roald. I'm not calling myself that because it's a Norwegian name. And we just literally sliced off the ALD and it was Roar. And the guys I was sitting with said, what about Rod? And I said, don't ever call me Rod. What about Rob? Bang. So that was Rob. And then in my family, there was like a German connection, but the name was spelled differently, but it was also Vega. And they said, what about that? And there you go. And what I didn't realize is I think it's a Latino name, Vega. I think so, as far as I know.
I could be. Or it's a place where you
people get a bit confused. Yeah. They go, but what is that? You're not. What is that? Why are you're not Vega? What is that? Yeah. So it's kind of weird. Especially when I lived there in the US, people I would go in and they go, but you're not, what are you? You're a white guy. What is this Vega thing? Anyway, just thought I'd clarify that. So so we live. Are we live right now?
The whole world now is watching.
Oh, fantastic. I love it because it's like my radio show.
Yeah.
I love live. Live is good. Live is, I know some people get their gonad shrink at the prospect of being live. I kind of like live. It's like deadlines. You want that. I don't even feel enough pressure. It's crazy. I wish I could see people. It's not the same as doing a live, like when you're in front of an audience of 10,000 people. Oh, I love it. But as I always said to my kids, they said, how do you do that? And I said, well, you're not actually talking to 10,000 people or 1 million people, or I don't know, maybe we're talking to the whole universe. You're not really doing that. You're really only talking to a guy sitting in his bed somewhere watching us on his phone. That just got weird.
God. Yeah,
that just got weird.
I was hoping a girl sitting in her bed.
He's taking a thing. He's having a moment. What was that guy in Married with Children? Al, what was his name?
Al Bundy. Al Bundy.
Who always escaped to the toilet to get away from his family. So if you're that guy, and instead of a newspaper, you're watching us on your phone, how you doing? It just got weird, right? It just got strange. I love it.
Dropped his phone.
That's
like,
great.
oh my God, he's talking.
We're watching you. Yeah. We're watching you. No, that's crazy. I love it.
Don't do that, sir. Don't do that.
Don't do that. And think of doing that.
That's right. So, what's really going to be funny on the rebroadcast on Sunday when people see this poor guy is going to be, they're talking to me. How'd they know? Really, we're talking to all the 25-year-olds that live in grandma's basement. So,
when he walks out, when he comes back into the living room and everybody's sitting there, he's going to have this guilty look on his face.
Yes. Like, what the heck?
I was watching guys on my phone while I was in the loo.
Well, now with the phone,
I don't know.
But on the phone you can. Like, I know that I can watch a movie in the shower. Or I can watch a movie in the loo.
How do you watch a movie on your phone in the shower? How do you do that?
I don't, but I have people that will put the phone on the far end of the shower
and watch a movie. God.
And I'm
really?
Like, and it's their
no.
It's their quiet time. And I'm like, what the
I'm sorry, it's their quiet time, but they've got a phone blaring out a movie while they're in the shower.
And let me tell you something. when you're in the shower, it's not like you can just put it on low. You have to put it on so loud that I don't care if you have a 300-meter house or a 30,000-meter house.
Yeah.
You hear it throughout the house.
Right.
So,
because you got to drown out the sound of the shower.
Right. It's like, oh my God. I'm like, you're going to go to bed. You go to bed. You can do this, that. It's crazy.
You're not going to believe this. Now, just confirm. I didn't know you were going to discuss showers. I didn't even know I was going to discuss showers.
Sure.
Right? We didn't.
Right.
And this happens to be on my this is not a product placement thing. I'm just saying I've got this. You know what this is? This is a thing that you stick to the wall in the shower.
Yeah.
And it is a speaker. Right?
Oh, wow.
Okay. It's a waterproof speaker. Some crappy little thing.
Is that for the people that want to watch movies in the shower?
No, that's the people who want to karaoke their asses off in a shower. There you go. It's good fun. Yeah. Because the sound, the sound of a shower is great. It's got great acoustics and you don't sound like a headless chicken. It's fantastic. Well,
oh my God.
Everyone else thinks you do, but it's fantastic.
I sound like a headless chicken.
But I'm not so stupid to take a non-waterproof mobile phone into the shower. I don't know why my phone's not working, right?
Well, no. Technically, these Apple 57s or whatever these phones are, they are waterproof now. So you theoretically are supposedly be able to go like scuba diving and go down 50 phantoms and it works. I'm like, good luck with that.
Why? Wow. I mean, have you ever scuba dived? Have you?
Yes, I'm a certified diver.
Me too.
Okay.
Probably not in your league, but I'm down to, I don't know what is in feet, but it's 30 meters. I'm certified to 30 meters.
Okay.
Which is about 100 feet, I think.
90 feet. Yeah.
90 feet. All right, good.
Yeah.
So that's me, because honestly, anything deeper than that, you can't see shit. So what's the point?
And there's nothing there to look at.
But the point of going down there is to get away from that. Why would you take a phone scuba diving? You clown. Why do you go into the shower to watch a movie?
Yeah.
Dry off. Go and watch it in the lounge. Damn.
Let me tell you, I was staying at a suite in Vegas at a hotel. And first of all, the shower is the size of most people's living room. So it was like if I wanted...
As it should be. I got a big shower.
There you go. I think I had 57 of my closest friends in it had shower knobs all over the place. It was like awesome.
Sorry, in the shower.
In the shower, it had all these, but not just one, but like there's like all over the place, and the waterfall one that falls on you.
Wow,
this is kind of like my sweet
friends in the shower.
Yeah, it was great. And we have pictures, and that's on OnlyFans. But the interesting thing about that was in the shower in Vegas, there was a television. So if I wanted to watch football or whatever, I could watch it with 57 of my closest friends. The one in Dubai didn't have a television, but it was equally as big of a shower. It's like for 9 people. It's crazy.
I'm still getting past the part where you're in the shower with 57 people.
Well, I have a lot of friends, so we like that kumbaya moment.
And when you say friends, you mean friends.
Friends, yes.
These are friends.
That's right. They're all cheerleaders from different NFL teams or Japanese baseball teams. But anyway,
I got one question for you, Steve.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you change the channel?
You're very carefully. It's like, here's the problem when you have those type of orgies. When you're done, you don't know who to thank. That's how I look at it. So yeah, it's true. Hey, I do have a question for you.
Why don't you just leave some things for people to just want? You had to say the word orgy. I mean,
okay, is that a bad word?
No, but it's like as opposed to naked with a swimsuit on. The swimsuit just leaves something to imagination.
Yeah,
we were thinking about you in the shower with 57 people, and then you just kind of went with the orgy thing, and you go,
anyway. Okay. So this is for the guy that's on the loo. So I have a question because you're a worldly guy. So if I would marry 2 midgets, does that make me big of me? Is that big of me?
Depends if they're grumpy and stumpy. I don't know.
You missed that joke anyway.
I did. So, I did. And I was going somewhere else.
Just with that big of me. Never mind. It's big of me. So,
no. It's like French air. You know what French air is?
No. What's French air?
Fresh air.
Ah, very nice.
You were doing that. You were doing that with the words.
Yeah.
And I deliberately went smack and went somewhere else. Sorry.
Because it was because of the orgy. I got it. All right. So you said you had 4 things you not a kid show.
We're 10 minutes in, and we've circled the fountain of bullshit. It's amazing.
Yeah. So
it's incredible. Who knew we could talk about nothing? Well, we knew for 10 minutes. I mean, we could do this all day. Have you watched
the Republican and Democratic conventions?
Oh,
they
my
have 4
God.
days of nothing.
Good. I'm glad you brought that up, because that was the first thing. That was actually number 1 on my look.
Your list.
True story. True story. See, notepad. Look, notepad.
All right, here it is on the notepad.
So, in case anybody's watching, in case we've got at least one person, when Steve said, "Hey, let's go and do the show," I was hanging up washing. I was.
Sure.
Big laugh. Somebody's got to do it, right? And while I was doing that, I was making notes as to what I could talk about. That's how we do it. We wing it. We don't. We don't sit and do. I mean, research. Are you kidding me? Why would we do that? So the first thing that I wrote down was tribalism. Tribalism.
Really? Okay.
And the reason I wrote the word tribalism down. Okay, I had this in my head before you asked me what I was doing, hanging up washing.
Right.
And I said, well, someone's got to do it. Is I think it's killing a lot of. We've mentioned this before. Oh my God! I think, are we going to get serious now? Let's try not get serious. Let's try not do that. But I think the point is, I mean, like, you guys have got this whole tribalism going on, and it's not like there's even any overlap with the parties, which is crazy, because you've got 320 apparently human beings in your country, in the US, who need, I guess, the same things, the same sort of things. I don't know. They're all human, and yet you've got such divergent energies politically, which is it's getting so bad. We mentioned this before, where you had presidents in the past. I mean, I mentioned to you that thing where I think George Bush the first and Bill Clinton were walking on that beach in Sri Lanka after the tsunami disaster. It might have been those two, but it was certainly a Democrat and a Republican getting together, presenting a united image to the world. They weren't presidents at the time, obviously, former presidents, but they seemed to be speaking the same language. They seemed to be friendly towards each other. And I have to say, as an outsider, it looked good, because it looked American, not Democrat and Republican. It was a good image. You know, I think the world wants that. You can have a difference of opinion, but when it becomes so visceral, so full of vitriol, I think that's a problem for me. Even if one's right and one's wrong, do you have to get so damn personal about it? Like, there was this whole thing with who's Trump's running mate? Vance.
JD Vance, the guy who likes to make love to a couch, apparently.
See, I'm actually trying to. Never mind. I'm trying to. They made such a big deal out of the fact that he's a bearded guy. It's not really a big deal. Men can grow beards. It's not, oh my God, there's a bearded guy running for office. And I went, is that seriously the biggest thing you can think about with him? Anyway,
we've had bearded presidents and vice presidents before. If you go back to, like, Grant and Lincoln, there's a whole bunch of guys that had beards or mustaches or things.
Right.
So it's interesting.
The point is, who cares? But there was a, I don't know, you probably know more about the joke. I was watching all these jokes come out about him in a sofa, and then
he wrote in his book that he likes to make love to the sofa. That's why I brought
apparently that up. And then it was apparently clearly disproved. And then some of the I guess you could call the left-leaning talk shows were saying, okay, it's not true, not really, but they continue to make jokes about it.
Of course, because of course,
but it, let me give you an example. Let me give you something. Okay. Sure. If you see two Scottish guys greeting each other at the airport, and they're friends, they will use the most horrendously vile language to, let's just say, to an American ear. That sounds terrible. They will use words that sound absolutely shocking. And yet for them, it's like, hey, how are you?
Yep.
What's my point? The point is, there's an ability to disagree, which I think tribalism has cut away. It's awful. You've got right, whether people like it or not, it is the world's biggest economy, and it is important that the people, whoever gets into the White House, needs to be a decent human being on some level. But on either side of the aisle, as an outsider, it looks like, well, they're all just a bunch of clowns. They all hate each other. There's absolutely no spirit of cooperation and interest in the other person's point of view. And I just think that's really childish.
It is, but and what's funny is that I think the Kumbaya stopped in the early 2000s, because even Clinton would smoke cigars and well, or do other things with cigars, but he would have beer with the boys. Or
wow.
Reagan was famous. I know we're live. Reagan would at least have, like, he would invite whoever over, and they would have like scotch in the Oval Office to discuss things.
Yeah.
This point to your tribalism and the visceral that people have gotten. Nobody does that. It's not like people say, hey, like, I'm the president and you're, whether I'm Republican or Democrat, say to the other side, come to the White House, let's have some dinner, and talk about. So they don't do that. It's like, you suck, you're this, you're that. I'm like, really? And then they wonder why, on not just on a US scale, but a global scale, everyone hates each other. You know what I mean? It's like everyone just hates everybody. And it's cool. Like, well, gee, if your leaders are running around saying, I hate you, what are you teaching the kids? There you go. So then that's kind of so much for that. But no, but it's the same thing. Like, what are you teaching the kids? You're teaching the kids what? Oh, it's okay to hate because our leaders hate. It's like, it's a much different world than I think it should be.
I'll tell you what is troubling for me is, as a kid growing up, obviously I was obviously born in the UK. Then my family moved to South Africa. And we've still obviously got extensive family in the UK and so on and so forth. But my folks moved here on contract work, and then they stayed, and then I kind of stayed, obviously, and in the interim moved to the UK, back to the UK, and then obviously came and lived in the US.
That's a good song. That could be a good song. Back to the UK. Where do I?
Back to the UK. Yeah.
USSR.
Bruce has done it, but yes, you could do you could have Beatles, I don't know, whatever, or Oasis version of the Bruce Springsteen song. Yeah, they're back together. But we'll talk about that in another show. I'm very excited about Oasis getting back together. But anyway, that's another story. I've always said this. I've said this on shows before. I've always looked at as the States as like this young internet. I don't mean the word international. It's international.
Right.
People. It's a wonderful melting pot of all sorts of people, including the people that were there already. Other story. But so everybody arrived from all around the world, and you think, well, that's great. They're all trying to get away from tyranny and wars and monarchies, and they came up with this, amazing constitution and this confrontational type of administration. And when I say confrontational, I say that's a good thing. You don't want anybody running the show. You don't want a king, which is great.
And that's what happens when you do a live show from South Africa. Go ahead.
What's that?
You're frozen, but you're frozen, but we can see you. Go ahead.
Can you still see me now?
Yes, I can hear you and see you. There you go.
Great. Are we back? All right. So I'm not sure. I'd always looked to the country as not a country. I've never looked at America as a country. It's just a great idea. And now you've got the two parties there, and neither one of them. If I was an American citizen and I thought, you've got to be kidding me. This is a country that's done some amazing things, and you've got really, this is what we got. We've got Laurel and Hardy running for office here. It's diabolical.
But now we don't, because of Miss Harris, we actually have,
but now hang on, Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, because I'm sure not everybody watching this is of your political persuasion. Right. I'm saying that I read the Post-it notes from both sides of the aisle.
Right.
And just to keep, I don't sit in the Fox chamber or the MSNBC echo chamber. you try and get a divergent opinion of what's going on. And there is such hatred for the other. Yeah. And you go, but nobody's listening. And this gets to the thing I'm talking about in terms of tribalism. You can be very proud of who you are in your party, but and I know you will. Someone's going to disagree with me, and that's great. That's fine. I'm not pretending to be an expert on American political history or structure, but the guy that is running for office from the Red Party isn't a Republican. I don't know if you agree with me on it. He's not. There's some great Republicans. There really are. There've been some. The Republican Party was the party of it liberated the slaves. For example, I happen to know that. But it's been a great party. There's nothing wrong with being a conservative. It's not a bad thing, really. You temper it with a liberal point of view, and you work together for the love of God. But it fascinates me that people over there, we've mentioned it before. Maybe they don't feel they're being listened to. You mentioned Kamala Harris. She looks good, but the people on the other side of the aisle, Steve, are not listening to a word, not a syllable. And the reverse is true. People are not listening to a syllable coming over from the other side. And you may think that what they're saying is rubbish, but no one's actually hearing anything. So it's just these two opinions doing this. And it's really like something out of the UFC. May the strongest badass person who criticizes the other one the most wins.
It's Thunderdome.
Wow. You get to be in the White House.
It's Thunderdome. That's all it is. Two go in, one comes out. But what's interesting though is I'm not anything. I
don't sell yourself short, Steve. You are something.
Oh, I know. Thank you. But politically, I'm nothing. Like I don't care.
Wow.
But what I do look at the policies of both sides. And what's interesting is that certain policies that the Republicans have, I like. There's certain policies that Democrats I like. But the problem is that because they're so busy tearing each other down, like this and that, and blah, blah, I'm like, seriously, enough is enough. Nobody's looking at their policies. Like there's certain policies that the Republicans do on immigrations or the Democrats are doing on immigration. They're really good, but everyone fights and tears each other down. Then they have policies on trade. Some are good.
That's my point.
But because everybody's trying to kill each other and make fun of each other, and Trump going, I didn't know she was black. I didn't know she was. Who cares? She's a human being. She's running for president. We know you're an orange man. I'm sure there's orange people that are very happy. Then nobody's paying attention to the actual thing. And I don't mind that people make fun of J.D. Vance. He should be made fun of. But it's like at some point you have to stop with like all the joking and whatever. We have to get down to what's this policy? What's this going to do? Like my question to both of them, and we've invited them, just so you know, on all our shows. Both of them, we've said you can come on any of our shows, and it's going to be a very simple question. We don't care what happened yesterday. I'm not looking at the past anymore. I don't want to hear what the Democrats or Republicans did. Nobody cares. You become president on January 6th. All I want to know is, what are you going to do? What's your policy?
How are you going to do it?
Right.
And how are you going to do it?
We've literally sent media requests to the Trump campaign and to the Harris campaign and said, you're more than welcome to come on our little channel. And that's the question. It's not Fox News and it's not CNN. No one's going to berate you. That's the question. Answer. And Rizza from Habana Cigar Show is watching, and he always jokes that Mr. Trump should come on. And so we've invited Mr. Trump on that and Lost Dollar and even this show and said, okay, please come on. And same with Miss Harris. No one's responded, and that's fine. But we're like, come on our show. And we 5 people may see it, 5 million may see it. But just tell us in 15 or 20 minutes, you become president on January 6th or 20th or whatever your date is. What happens? What's going to happen? What are you going to do? I don't care I don't want to hear about the economy, where it is. What are you going to do based on what you know to move America forward? That's all I care about. That's all I want to hear. I don't want to hear rhetoric of, I don't care. I don't care where the economy is today because everyone's inheriting something. So that's what I want to hear.
What I would like to, and we've got the same problem here, and the UK has got the same problem as well. Those are sort of my 3 areas of interest. And what you very seldom see, and this is why people like comedians, by the way. In fact, good comedians strangely enough, I rate as some of the smartest people, but unfortunately they're in this comedic suit, which people don't take seriously. But a lot of comedians are extremely astute and are right on the money. And the reason why people like it is because here you've got someone. This is why comedians are so important. Here you've got someone who, to be funny, you've got to know what's going on. You've got to be able to understand humanity. Good luck with that, by the way, and be able to put some kind of a light or funny spin on it. But the truth is what makes the joke. So you've got to understand the truth. You've got to understand what's true to people. And that's what makes some of these comedians so incredibly smart. And you often hear people say, oh, you should run for office. Oh, you should run for office. And they go, no. But I know they won't. But it's not a bad idea, because what politicians globally, not just the US, globally, but unfortunately, because America in its economic position is going to be in the spotlight because of what and how big it is. But it's true for every politician. You want a leader to stand up, and a reporter says, let's just use American people from it. Ms. Harris, what do you think of Trump? I don't care about Donald Trump. This is what I'm going to do. But don't you think he's a this and a that, and he's grabbed women by the whatever? I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about him. And the same should be true of Trump. Don't talk about Kamala Harris. Don't talk about it. Just don't talk about the Democrats. Try not talking about the other party. To both sides, I would say. Don't talk about the other party. Stop with these stupid attack ads. Who are you changing? Whose mind are you changing? It's like, this is how children work. They're on the playground and they try to kick each other's feet out from underneath each other. They try to trip each other up. This is what we do as children. And then we teach our kids, no, kids, you need to listen to each other, need to grow up, take emotion out of it, and be more mature. Here you got a man, how old's Donald Trump? 78? 78. Yep. Kamala Harris, I think she's 59. All right. Yes. Both sides of the fence. And I even have, what's his name? Biden. I mean, he's 81, 82.
Biden is older than dirt.
These people are grandfathers, great-grandfathers, great-grandmothers, whatever. These are people that you look up to them and you go, well, at that point in my life, I will have gotten over my shit. I will realize what's important. I will have discovered the humanity in myself and be able to see it in others. And I'm not on the playground anymore. I'm not 5 years old. If someone attacks me, so what? Geez, like, all I can say is, and this is great advice for anybody who's a Trump supporter, and I've got friends who are Trump supporters who live in Ridgefield, Connecticut, where I used to be, and I've said this to them. Just, you know what? I've looked at some of Donald Trump's ideas and his policies. I have. And there are some very good ideas. He makes some very good points. Absolutely. But then he feels the need to respond personally to somebody who attacks him. Jesus, you're 78 years old. Grow the fuck up. Really? Seriously. I mean, if I had to respond to every listener that had some stupid comment to make about my show, I wouldn't go and do my radio show. I would just say, I can't take it. People don't like me. Well, you've got a smaller dick than me. And this is what's running for office. I'm saying, keep your positions, keep your political positions, keep your concerns. But for the love of God, stop talking about each other and don't be so goddamn personal. Why? Grow up.
Because they're pandering.
What the hell?
Remember, they're pandering to the American public, and the American public, for the most part, stupid.
Okay, the American public, if you refer to them, Steve, deserve better than that.
Oh, they do. But because the American public has been pandered to for so long and spoken down to for so long, I don't think the American public realizes what they want. They're like, oh, we have two children running for president, if you will, that make fun of each other. I don't think Miss Harris has made fun of Trump yet. I know Trump's making fun of her daily. And maybe she has. I haven't seen anything. But we have children running. Children are going to run the country. And so that's part of it, right? So they are so used to pandering. That's a problem. So at some point, we'll have a real presidential campaign where there's no pandering. Like, when Reagan ran, there was no pandering. When Bill Clinton ran, there's no pandering. Even when Bush ran, it seems like I said, in the 2000s, all of a sudden we've become a nation of idiots. Like it's
the world. Unfortunately, Steve,
the world. Well, that's true.
It's the world. It's not just the US. It's the entire planet. Yeah. Everyone's gotten really childish. I don't know if it's social media, connectedness. I'm not sure what it is. And this need to puff your chest and parade around the playground. My God. What is the federal debt in the US? It's like 35 trillion. Is that right?
Yeah. But that's okay. We have a printing press. Oh no, I'm sure it's not that much. It's like 34.5.
I'm sorry, it's 34.5. But the economy is massive. It is a big economy. It is an amalgamation of cultures and people from Europe, from Africa, from Asia.
Yes.
It's supposed to represent, this is why people look up to it. It's supposed to represent the best of the best, supposedly.
Right.
And it's certainly the biggest economy. And that's great.
All right, just to let you know what our debt is. I'm looking at the world debt clock. The world debt clock says, and I'm 35 trillion, 268 billion, 606 million, and it just keeps changing. So let's just because we're among friends, 35.2 billion is our
I was correct. Yes. I was right, give or take a trillion.
Yeah, among friends.
Or a couple of billion.
Yeah,
I said 35 trillion. Okay. Yeah. When I lived there, the last time I was in the US, I think it was 2016, right. And I remember it was on the side of every building in New York City. They've got those big ticker things that all around New York City have got those things, and it's just spinning over.
Right.
And I think Trump had just taken office when I left the US, and it was $19.5 trillion then.
Right.
So it's about to double in 8 years. Yeah. That's extraordinary. But that's not what I wanted to point out. What I wanted to point out is. Whatever you think, what I really used to love about this is the good part.
Yeah.
I think you sell, and this is my opinion. You've got vastly more experience. You lived there. You are an American, blah, blah, blah. But the experience I have is certainly I've visited about 31 states, basically the Northeast, down to Virginia, a little Florida, Louisiana. I think I put my foot into Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee,
all the states when they get divorced, they're still brother and sister. Got it. Okay.
Right. Okay. Well, you would know about that. I don't know about that. I mean, I've even been to the Outer Banks, North Carolina. Right. Beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, lovely people. I drove down and people were fascinated, obviously, by the way I spoke. I was fascinated by the way they spoke, and there was a mutual interest. And maybe that's why I've always had a good time there. And I think the folks are great. I've never had the most negative experience I ever had in the US was when I went to, was it NBC, one of the broadcasters in New York City, and the guy couldn't understand me when I said water.
Really?
It was the weirdest thing. I was in the lobby of the place and I asked for some water, and he went, "I'm sorry." And I went, "Oh, I'm sorry, water." And I looked at him and I went, "Really?" Wow. But that is the most negative thing I've ever experienced. And it isn't really a negative. What I'm saying, Steve, is I know what you're saying about the people, but I think they're great people. Very similar to the people here. We've mentioned this. The accent is different, but it's the same thing. People want the same thing. They're not this vastly intellectual or idiotic group of people. They are normal, average, decent people that I feel if you had a political leader that stood up and said, "Listen, let's just see what you want and let's see about getting that for you." And the idiot that stands up in the back of the room says, "What about that guy? Can you piss off, please?" Because the adults in the room now, and this is a really big country with a big economy, a big debt, and a lot of people and a lot of interests to take care of. We can't be worried about playground chat. We've got massive economies, billions and trillions of dollars at stake. We can't act like children. People look to us for leadership. Now, if someone criticizes us, you have to understand that is just a symptom of leadership. There are going to be lots of people that don't like what you're doing. If you can't take that, Donald, put your phone down and stop responding. Good God, man. You know, for me, I've always found him very interesting. The Apprentice, I thought, was pretty entertaining. I'm being honest. As an observer, I thought it was great. You're fired. I thought it was great. He had some great thoughts about business. I mean, the man is Steve. I'm being generous here, but I don't think there's nothing dumb about him. But my only problem is there are a lot of people. No one's checked him. So I think if you gave me what did he get, like $300 million when he was 30 years old or something?
Oh, when his dad died, he gave like 10 million, and they had a trust.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, so he's gone through life and he's done well. He's lost money. I mean, he's no different from a lot of people, but he's never been checked. He's never checked. He's never been checked. You and I, we've been checked. We've lost things. We've gone through pain, like most people have.
Right.
I'm sure he's gone through stuff, but it seems like he's a guy that's just been allowed to just go, say whatever you want. And you need someone who's been through stuff. Right. You need someone who's suffered. You do. You need someone who understands that being an adult is about pain, and it's about taking criticism, and it's about taking abuse. If you're a leader, it's exactly what you must take. You can't respond to it. Right. So let me give you an example. There was a company here. I'm not going to mention names, but it was a beer company, and there was a crowd here that used to make these parody satirical T-shirts. So they would take the company's name, change a few letters, and turn their logo into a joke.
Okay.
And 99% of companies here just went with it and thought it was funny. They didn't see it as a threat to their image, whatever. And then people would buy the T-shirts, and some companies actually embraced the joke. Right. And it was fun, and no one cared. Right. This particular brewing company took issue with it, took these guys to court. It became a big deal and actually shut them down because they could. They had that kind of clout. Right. And the problem was no one really cared about the T-shirts. And now, if you can get all of those T-shirts, they are worth a mint because people want them. My point is, if a child shouts at you in a supermarket, says, "Hey, Stephen, why do you look so old? Look at that kid, man, he's old." Right. Do you, honestly, if a 5-year-old shouts across a shopping mall and says you look old, are you seriously going to take issue with that? My point is, that's exactly what you have. You've got a guy running for office who's taking abuse from a lot of ignorant people. Just ignore it. Really. In fact, look at it as a compliment. I am doing something that is disruptive, that's upsetting people, and it's creating a ripple. You may not like the ripple, but I'm doing something. Honestly, if people are not criticizing you as a leader or as a radio host, then you are crap. Then you are crap. You're not doing anything. If people don't take issue with a comedian, then Jimmy Carr is one of my favorite comedians. And he literally, his whole career is he thrives on criticism, on trying to get canceled, on pushing the boundaries. I mean, can you imagine if he took criticism seriously to the end of his career?
Yeah. Well, the end of his career right after one show.
Now, how come a guy like that, in my eyes, makes a better leader than what is out there right now? Because he's more of a goddamn adult. That's why, Steve.
I got it, but the American public doesn't want an adult. They want.
Do you think so?
Slash child. Yeah, it must be because
they do.
There's really 70 million people voted for the Orange Man last time. So 70 million people don't want an adult.
They're worried because you've got a media circus which is stirring them up all the time. You've got there's so much garbage out there, right? And we've said this before. There's a lack of it. I don't know whether it's education or the ability to disseminate information. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, honestly, Steve, if you had to go online now and Google a cure for how do you stop waking up in the middle of the night, you're going to get 10 different opinions, ranging from God is talking to you, to your cortisol levels are up, to, I've researched this, right? Yeah. To you drinking too much before you go to bed, or you drinking too little, you eating too much, you eating too little. And even that personal little nugget of concern in my life, there are 10 different opinions about it. Right. So how are they supposed to know what the hell is going on? Okay. Now I'm going to answer the question.
Okay.
It starts with someone who runs for office realizing they're a servant. You're not a leader. You're not a boss.
Yeah.
A boss is a company. It's not a company. A country is not a company. I know some people reckon, America can be run like a company. You can't run a country like a company.
Correct.
We will get into that. You can't, right? So you're not a boss. You're not people's boss. You're not their champion. You're not their goddamn hero. You are their servant. You serve. When you go into office, you serve. In fact, you can go online and you can see these things about the pay packages of leaders around the world. What's interesting is some of the most democratic leaders earn almost nothing. They earn very little relative to other people in their country. The ones where, some of these countries that earn billions, the president of a country, while the rest of the people in his country, eat dirt. Now, what I'm saying is proper democracy involves a leader who serves.
Correct.
One thinks the words they're not actually polar opposites. A leader will serve. Let me wash your feet. What do you need? Let me help you. You auditioned me and you gave me the job. So you are actually my boss.
Correct.
But if that could be, I don't know how you get that out there, but it's just too childish. It's too tribal. The political thing is too tribal. It's too childish, and it literally serves nobody. Now, I'm picking on the US because I think it's a model of what the rest of the world should be. Unfortunately, because of its size, it has amazing influence, but it's not. And again, it's my opinion. People can disagree, but it's not taking on that role properly, because what people look to the US for leadership, rightly or wrongly, they do. They go, oh, that's the world's biggest economy. That's where a lot of my people went, and your people and their people, and they got away from stuff and they built this amazing country. So it is looked to for leadership, for direction. You need someone there who can take that on and is not emotional and realizes the gravity of that role. If you're not up for it, don't do it. There are talented people. We've been talented, amazing people, but why don't they do it? They're like, I don't want that. That's a poison chalice, and that's the problem. It's leadership for me as a talent, and you're born with it. You have this built-in, non-patronizing desire to help people genuinely, not to stand there with the check and say, look how much we donated, but just you want to do it. I don't know where you find those people. I'm not sure, but what we have, what is there where you are, what is here now, these are not our droids. These are not our droids.
No, I agree. It's like I said, the American has been pandered to for so long. I think it's just a point of he sells a good story like they did in the 30s in another country. And I think that, because people don't know history and they don't read the policies of each party, if the Democrats and Republicans could get together and just come up with some good policies, I don't care who he is that's we call president. I need the Congress and the senators to all work together. I need a Supreme Court that actually knows what the law is, not give laws based on what they think the party needs. And then I need local officials to be good for local. So it really starts at, let's just go back to the roots of, the founding fathers were not under God. That's something that we made. We're not this, we're not that. They wanted to have a country that was run not by dictators or kings or queens, but by the people. And it was your point, as servants for the people. So until we can get back to the way it was, then there's going to be a problem, and not the way, if you will, for lack of a better term, man wants it to be. Then we're going to have this problem. And the more they pander to the American public, I think the more you're going to have these problems that they act like they're fine. And we're almost out of time, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, we know. But I will say this: what's extraordinary to me, you talked about the founding fathers. I don't think people. I know you have, and I know a small percentage of people have. But I would say to people, you want to say to people who haven't, go and study the lives of those founding fathers. They were hideously complicated people. They were not all good. They were not all bad, but they went through stuff. And some of them weren't the nicest people. They weren't all roses and petals and crap. But I will tell you something. They did understand party politics. Bad idea. Washington, when he left, I always said to people, read his address when he left. Don't go the party route. And then he made he went into a whole description of what could happen. And he's literally described what is happening now, right now. And you go, but the country used to have these really smart people. And I have to believe, Steve, they are still there. They're just not in government right now.
No, they're doing what I do. You're either in tech and an investment banker or whatever because you make billions instead of getting.
I don't know how you
don't argue with anybody. You don't. I don't know how you fix it. I'm not sure. You hope that the next person that becomes president of the United States is an adult, and they're like, now we're going to make the country like it better, and this is how we're doing it, and we're going to treat it like an adult, and we're not going to do the sticks and stones, or, hurt me, and that's what we do. We have real political discourse. Like they're going to have a debate on the 10th of September. Okay, we'll see how that goes. But I want adults now running it. But that means the Congress people, the Senate people, this ridiculous fighting and calling each other names, and to your point, attack ads. Enough, kids. Like let's get to like running the country and getting it back. You've got unemployment. You got people with no health care. You've got poverty. Okay. Why don't we worry about that? So.
Well, yeah, there were so many things that I wanted to pick up on what you said. Well, first of all, you don't have an unemployment problem. There's an unemployment. It's like 40% here. So you're good. You're okay. It can get a lot worse.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, you do want, there were so many things you said. What did you say there? There was something you said. I just think you want people, adults. That's what you need.
Yeah, that's what I want, an adult. Yeah, U.S. politics right now is like U.S. politics in America is childish. That's all it is. We don't have a leader. I mean, Biden's kind of a leader, but he's one step on a banana peel, one step whatever. I
know what I want to say. Here we go.
There you go.
I was going to say, and we keep bringing up the U.S., but this is a global problem. But unfortunately, the U.S. is the biggest problem because it's just big. Okay, that's the problem. I often say, even when I lived there, in the US, you almost like lose sight of the rest of the world. It's like you're the guy and you're the senior, and everybody else is a junior. All the juniors know who the senior is. The seniors don't know who all the juniors are. That's kind of what America is right now. I don't blame anybody there. I really don't. I understand. I've lived there. Everything you need is there. Ostensibly, it's a very well-run country. I know you may not think so. Try traveling. It's not that bad.
I've traveled all over the world.
As much as people bitch about it there, I go, oh my, really? You really have no idea. You need to travel. And you'll get back, you'll land in JFK, and you go, oh, thank God. Believe me.
Except when you go through customs at JFK, when there's a glitch, then you'll be like, I wish I wasn't here.
Yeah, but believe me, it as bad as it is, wow. Okay. Right. No, I just think, just take the temperature down. You want to almost not softly spoken, but you need a leader who just you wouldn't talk like that let me put it this way. You wouldn't talk like that amongst your friends. There would be, or maybe you would. I guess what I'm saying is a lot of what you hear in the political world would be considered in normal adult dialogue hideously childish. Very. Correct. It's very childish.
Right.
And I'm saying, if people could just learn to be adults again, because I'm sure they don't conduct themselves in their private life like that. I hope not. I've seen, but bear with me. I have seen videos where Trump has gone to, a shop, or he's met kids, and he looks actually quite nice. He speaks to people nicely, and he says, "How you doing? Hello." Yeah. And I go, mate, this is what you want to do. You want to ignore the Democrats. Ignore them. Just ignore them. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Go and have an ice cream cone with somebody at a shop and say, how you doing, Bob? Do that. Do that. And you know what? Yeah. You don't have to force your opinion down people's throats. They will figure out what they need to when they see what your plan is. Right. Don't worry about the other guy. Don't worry about Republicans. Forget about the Democrats. Democrats, forget about the Republicans. Don't worry about Why?
Okay.
Why? You obviously are a Democrat or a Republican, and that's what you're comfortable with, and you're in your lane. So drive your car in your lane. That's it. And it applies to, it's around the world. I mean, the UK, I could say the same thing with Labour and the Tories, and in this country with our plethora of parties, the same thing. But people, I don't know why politicians feel the need to take down opponents. There's no need for that. There's literally no need for that. That is not what proper leaders and adults do. They don't do that. And I think, you say people are used to being pandered in the US. I genuinely believe they are sick and tired of the confrontational bullshit. I think if you stood up as a leader, there were some people who like it. You see, the problem in America is it's the media capital. Everything I know about broadcasting, everything I know about what we're doing now, where do you think I learned it from? From the US. I spent time in the US. I've always a lot of the cues in terms of the voice work I do, I learned from the US, because the US has been doing it longer than anybody else.
Right.
Are they better? Possibly, but they've got the legacy is bigger. So media is a big part of American life. Huge. Hollywood, movies, broadcast. Oh, fantastic. No question. No question. But what it then does is it then bleeds into everything else.
Right.
So politics goes, oh, we'll have a bit of that. And it becomes this media show instead of a political show. I watched the rallies, the Republican thing and then the Democrat thing.
Yeah.
And everybody stood up. No one stood up and said, hi, hello, everybody. I'm person X, and lovely to see you in this tone.
Right.
You know, and it's great. And you know what we're going to do is, I know a lot of you are hurting. I know you're hurting. I'm hurting. We can see it. You don't have to be a genius to figure that out.
Right.
And what I'm proposing is X, Y, and Z. And this is what I think we're going to do. Now, if you like that, I'd love to have your vote. If that's not going to work for you, that's fine. Let's talk. Let's chat. Anyway, thank you for your time. I'm going to sit down in my seat and let the conference go on. Can you imagine a leader that did that? No, it was, hey, awesome. Whoa. What is this? Is this the Super Bowl or is it a conference?
No, it's the World Wrestling Federation, because they had Hulk Hogan.
Steve, the audience wants that at the stadium.
Yeah.
Some of the people watching TV want that. But all the people, all the ordinary people just going about their lives, watching this on their phone in the loo, all those ordinary people, hi guy on the loo, sorry, all these people just just shut up. Just stop shouting. Stop. Oh! Be an adult. What are you going to do, John? What are you going to do, Dad? What are you going to do, Mom? What are you going to do? How's it going to work? I don't care if, Mom, Dad, I know you're divorced. I don't care. Where are we going today? Are we going to the zoo? Dad, what are we going to do? The track. Boom. I don't care whether Dad hates Mom or Mom hates Dad. I come from a divorced family. My parents, when they broke up, they were very clear. They wouldn't badmouth each other. Now, what's this got to do with politics? It's the same thing. It's very similar. You've got these two parties bad-mouthing each other, and the kids looks at them and goes, I don't know which one to believe. They just hate each other. They just stop hating each other. That's what I'm saying. It's the tribalism crap that I'm talking about that exists around the world, but overtly, it's probably more obvious in the US because of this binary political system.
Right. And the US politics is childish.
Very binary
until we get an adult. Yeah. So, well, that was
you need more parties, Steve. You need more parties, or none.
We will get you
or none
more.
Or none.
That'd be good. Yeah, none is good.
And then, but then, Steve, you actually have to have something to talk about, not just I hate the Republicans, I hate the Democrats. Yeah, he's our man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It'll be fun to see.
It's crazy.
Something to look forward to.
And I will
hey,
say
it was
this
good seeing you.
Before I go.
Yeah.
I have had this conversation with my friends, very smart people who I don't know if they like Trump, but they don't like the Democrats. That's fine. That's right. But they have said to me, even they have agreed with me, that the guy that's running for office now for their party, not so sure if he's actually a Republican, because he was a Democrat, then he was an independent, now he's a Republican. And I said to them, you'll love this. I said, no, he's a Trumper. That's what he is.
There you go.
He's about himself. And that's fine. Right. In fact,
it's a new party.
That's the party. It's not the Republican Party. It's the Trump Party.
Yeah,
and if that's what you want, great. That could be the birth of a new party. Okay, fine.
Hey, we could bring back the Whig Party too. That'd be awesome.
Sure. Yeah. I know there are more parties. I know somebody's going to say, but there are more other parties. Yes, they are, but they literally are little ants.
We're a two-party system, and that's all it's ever been. Well, not really. Back in the day.
There's too many. Yeah. Oh, we didn't even talk about RFK. I think
that's okay.
Great.
Oh, that's next week. Or we should do another show this week. Yeah, we'll do an RFK. The worm in the brain guy. Everybody, thank you for watching. Mr. Woods, as always, it's a pleasure to see you. And we will see everybody. We may see you more than once a week. We don't know yet. We're having discussions. Our agents have to talk to the powers to be and see if they can pay us more
people.
Yeah, people have to talk. Anyway, thank you for watching. Sure. You'll see the rebroadcast of this on Sunday. Don't forget to subscribe and like. And if you want to listen to the podcast, you can catch it here on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. But anywhere else outside of YouTube, it's under Two Old Farts Making Noises. Look for Vaguely True or Vaguely News, and you will find us. Everybody, we'll see you all later. Cheers.
Thank you so much for listening to this Roald Woods, Rob Vega, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, fellow. This podcast thing, it makes him feel very important, and he's a difficult fellow as it is to deal with. So thank you so much for putting up with him, and